Hi, hello friends. Are you interested in networking or you would like to learn about network security? Um, you are at the right place. So this channel is created to give guidance to the students who are looking for an opportunity with networking or network security. So myself having 10 years of experience in networking and security, I have carried out network security part as well as information security and vulnerability management. So I'm interested to share my knowledge and experience with you guys. So if you are really looking for a role in network domain, please subscribe our channel and start watching our videos and try to do practice. So without practice, you cannot be a network engineer. But we will make sure we will give you a guide. We will give you a guidelines from step-by-step procedures, which will make you feel comfortable with both network and security domain. So the only thing is you have to watch the videos and you have to practice it. Practice makes a man perfect, and I hope this is right. This is enough for the introduction. Let us jump on to the course. So the first thing what we are going to see is the first thing what we are going to see is networking. So I hope you are watching this video in your YouTube through a mobile from your computer. Have you ever wondered how these things are happening or how it is working? I mean, who are all the engineers behind the screen working for you in order to give you the videos or your emails or your movies. See, whatever the applications, whatever the things you are accessing through your computer or mobile, there are plenty of engineers who are all sitting behind them in order to make the internet run. So let us see what is their roles and how they are supporting us. So the first point is when we talk about networking, it will be a night mirror without OSI layers. So what is meant by OSI layers? It's a reference model which is being created by ISO, the International Organizations for Standardization. And why it was created? In 1918s, when the computer has become started become a key role in business, all the IT people had a single problem, which is networking. I mean, sharing information among their computers, which is nothing but, I mean, each and every vendors have their own strategies to communicate with their own devices. So just for an example, we can say in 1980s, it is not possible for you to share a file from a Linux machine to your Windows machine. So both Linux and Windows were there, but it is not possible. I mean, it is not that much easy the way how we are handling today. Say for an example, you might be using a lot of websites like Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Twitter, any other news medias or education sites or Wikipedia. So, but we are not sure what is their basic operating system where the service is running on, right? So the communication between your machine, it can be a Windows, Mac, or Linux, to the remote server. So this communication was a nightmare in the 1980s, and it is being overcome by ISO. I mean, they have come up with a solution called OSI layers. The OSI layers is just a reference model, which is sorry, it was created in. I mean, it was delivered, or we can say, it has been published as a complete draft in the year of 1982. Okay, so what exactly the OSI layers is? It's just a reference model. When you say reference model, you can think of a blueprint, or you can think of a instruction or guidelines, whatever you would like to say. These are all the guidelines which has been given to the manufacturer, the device manufacturer, or the OS manufacturer. So whoever is working in the area of computer, OS, or network LAN part, your modem, your routers like Cisco, Juniper, Palo, or a firewall. So whoever the vendor is, if the vendor is a part of a network, uh, if the vendor device is part of networking area, I mean, if if the device needs to be connected to any network, it has to follow the guidelines. So this is what I mean, ISO comes up with a plan. So what does mean by OSI? It's open system interconnection or interconnect. So as the name defines, open system, irrespective of your system, here the system, the operating system or your network system like Cisco, Juniper, whatever it is. So each and every vendor, or even if tomorrow you're going to create your own network device manufacturing company, you have to follow the reference model. I mean, you have to accept their reference model because this reference model is widely accepted by all the device manufacturer. So what is the agenda? Uh, Let us assume that you would like to see a website, you would like to access a website. So the website could be anything. It might have any content. So the content is what the data is. Say you are watching a movie, so the videos are the data. I'm talking about the streaming videos. Another one from our desktop. I mean, stored in our hard drive. So, are you are watching your news channel where you can see the contents are scrolling, or you can see the pictures and the news information. Everything is data. This data is residing at a remote server, right? And you are sitting and you are watching it from your computer or your laptop. I mean, your computer or your mobile or your tablet. So, how these two devices are communicating? That is what the networking is all about. So how these two devices has to communicate, that is what defined in OSI layers. So the OSI layers are contains 7 different layers. We used to call it as application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, data link layer, and physical layer. And each and every layer has its own PDU, protocol data unit. So the protocol data unit is nothing but your actual data, but how it is being called when it is reaching to the different layers. So the data, like you can assume the data can be anything. So the data, how it is being called in each layers. So if somebody says the packet, I mean the data has data, then it is residing with any of these three layers: application, presentation, session. And the name segments, when we say segment, it just means that the data is under layer 4. If you say it's packet, it is under layer 3. Say frames, it is under layer 2. If you say bits, it's under layer 1. So let us talk, or let us understand this more deeply in the upcoming slides. So the first one is application layer. Application layer is nothing but whatever you are seeing. So a human, I mean, the meeting point of both human and data is called application layer. See, we cannot see our streaming videos without any application like your favorite browser or your favorite mobile app. Let it be an Amazon Prime or VIP Hotstar, or even it's a Mozilla Firefox. So here the application can be different. Like if you're watching a video in your favorite browser, the application is browser. If you're watching it through your application like Amazon Prime or Netflix, then the application is that specific APK file, or yeah, the APK file. So the layer, so this is what it is actually. So in this application layer, you are seeing the data as it is in the same format where the data is stored, right? So that's it. There is no, many things to be discussed on this application layer. Some of the protocols which are running on this application layer is HTTP, FTP, SSH, Telnet, and there are other plenty of applications like SMB or file transfer protocol, SSH. So when we say protocol, it's just protocol. In computer words, protocols means it's set of instructions. So when we use HTTP, the HTTP has its own instructions uh, to work on the data. Right? So let us see those informations. I mean, specific information about HTTP, FTP, SSH tunnel in the upcoming videos. But at this moment, just consider application layer as the layer where a human and data meets. So in order to communicate or in order to meet them, they need a common language. That language is your browser or your Netflix, Amazon, Prime applications. That's it. And then session layer, sorry, presentation layer. Presentation layer, as the name implies, it is just presenting the data. So what is meant by presenting the data? Say for an example, Word document. Okay, so you are having a Word document in your computer, but if you see, the Word document will have its own extensions called .doc, docx, or a video file will contain MP3, sorry, MP4, or some additional examples, or a photo file. It might have JPEG or MPEG or PNG format. So those kind of things will be managed by this presentation layer. What it does is it just give a representation to the data. I mean, to identify the file type, for an example. Along with that, it is just doing the conversion of a data, I mean, from a human understandable language into a machine understandable language. I mean, yeah, right. So converting from ASCII to binary, and then it is doing additional features like compression and decompression, encryption and decryption. So if you see here, compression and encryption will be happen at the sender end. When it has started sending a bigger file, it just do the compression. So the reason for doing this compression is to make sure the file size is low so that it can transfer through the network at a very quick amount of time. And so when the data is compressed, you have to do a decompression in order to understand the actual data, because the actual data has been fused, right? So we have to decompress that. So the decompression will be happen at receiver end presentation layer. And encryption is, uh, encryption is a form of chain adding in security. So if the actual word is high, it will be encrypted as IAH. Here the encryption what we used is reverse. So each and every word has to be reversed in order to understand the actual meaning. So this is not encryption. It's just for your understanding. Okay. So whatever the encryption happened on the sender end, the same will run against on the data at the reverse end. I mean, at the receiver end, as I told, HAI is transferred into IAH while transferring. After the receiver receives this IAH, he will do the reverse combination, which is HAI. I has been delivered from center to receiver. So these things will be managed by the presentation layer. And the second thing, session layer, it's layer 5, as the name session suggests. It is maintaining the session. So what is meant by session? Like the best example can be you are logging into any of your financial websites, which is deals with money. So the first point is you have to give your username and password. Once you authenticate that, you will be logged in into the website. And then if there is no movement at all, you will get a pop-up saying that this connection is ideal for 5 minutes and I want to close this connection if there is no more action from your end. So why this warning is coming out? Who is sending this warning? It is session layer. The reason is you cannot keep a sessions wide open because it will affect the system performance, as well as there is some security breaches is also available, which is why maintaining a session is mandatory. And in some cases, if you see while watching your videos, say for an example, yeah, right, in any of your Netflix or Amazon Prime, after you kept it somewhere, like you started watching a video and after some time you kept it and just log out. And after 2 days, if you go back to the same serial, you will find like this is the place where you left it. So the session, I mean, it is not maintaining your session, but it is having a check over the last session where you till where you watched. So these are all the examples of session layer. Okay. So in the session layer, your data will be the same data. Okay. And then transport layer. Transport layer is the heart of the OSI layers because it does most of the transactions between the sender and receiver. Okay, so the first part, what it does is it breaks the data into smaller chunks. The reason is if a file is 10 GB, 1 GBps, you cannot transfer that file 1 GBps on the same flight, right? Because of there is a limitation at your end. I mean, you may not have 1 Gbps link, or your receiver may not have 1 GB link. So what it does is it just break the 1 GB file into small chunks and then put an identification mark. We used to say it as sequence number. So what is sequence number? So when you break something, you should know, right, which file has to be the first one, which has to be the second one, which has to be the third one. Or just assume that you are sending a word like uh, I likes you. So it has to be a meaningful only when it is says like I likes you. What will happen? You likes I. It is not the actual statement which you would like to convey, right? The actual information what you would like to convey is I likes you. So the same order, the receiver also has to receive that file. So this transport layer at the center end puts a sequence number and send the file. At the receiver end, there is a transport layer which receives all the information, and based on the sequence number, that transport layer rearranges your data and then move it to the session layer. Okay, so when the data is sent from one location to second location, the first location it will start from 7 to 1, and the receiver end it will go from 1 to 7. So when the transport layer in your sender end uh, changing this, putting the sequence number, the same sequence number will be utilized in the receiver end to readjust or reorder the data irrespective of its reception. And then based on, yeah, right, irrespective of its reception, it just reorder the data and push it to the session layer. Okay, along with, so the segmentation part itself, it's kind of a crucial one because it is ensures the messages in a clear format, right? Along with that, it maintains another one called flow control. So what does mean by flow control? Say for an example, you cannot have more pizzas, right? You cannot have more food uh, because your stomach won't accept it, right? The same way is applicable for here as well. But- So as I told, being a center, you have 1 GB of link and you are pushing 1 GB file to your friend who is not having 1 GB of file internet link. He is having only 10 Mbps, which means he can accept only 10 Mbps file at a time, right? So he cannot, receive the complete file. So what the receiver side transport layer will say is, see boss, I can have a 10 Mbps. Just give me 10 Mbps file per second, not more than that. If you gave it, I cannot handle it. So this is what the flow control mechanism is. It's just a kind of an agreement between center and receiver. And you don't need to worry about those things. Those things are managed by your operating system itself or your application itself. But still, this is what happening in the background. Being a network engineer, it is mandatory for you to understand these things because this will be very useful when you are doing a troubleshooting. Okay, so the flow control is when the sender has to send the file to the receiver, and irrespective of the same, it also maintains whether the receiver has received the message or not. So that is what error control is. Say from the center, there are 10 packets has been sent to the destination, whereas the receiver received only 9. The one segment, we used to say it as segment and transport layer, right? So the one segment has been missed out in any of the location. So during that time, the receiver has to intimate the center, hey buddy, I just missed only one segment. I need this segment. That sequence number is missing in my end. So the transport layer will just transmit the same data, which is called error control. Okay. So the transport layer is majorly divided into two different categories. One is connection oriented and the second one is connectionless. Connection oriented means, so what we said, the connection oriented is taking more responsibility, not only sending the data, but also verifies whether the data is delivered at the remote location. Connection-oriented program, connection-oriented communications can be uh, the best example can be, yeah, you are downloading a file from internet. So so the sequence number will be verified because you are downloading it through either HTTP or FTP protocol. So those delivers a specific connection. If if a specific file is missing on the transmission, that file will get retransferred. Okay, the connectionless, it doesn't worry about data delivery. It is clean. Like say, boss, you have requested for the data, I send it to you. Whether you received or not, it's none of my business. That is what connectionless is. Very cool, right? So the connectionless, are we using connectionless? Yeah, we are using connectionless wherever you need to see, videos or audio calls. It was in the initial phase we used UDP protocols for streaming videos and not VoIP services, just for audio calls like bridges and all. So that's it. So for transport layer, and then the second layer is network layer, the hero. The reason for hero is he is taking care of the complete reachability or transferring the file from one location to second location. So in this layer, the data is called as packets. So the reason for calling it as packet is along with segments, it put additional information. Sorry, I just missed to tell you one point in transport layer, which is nothing but the source and destination port numbers. So the source and destination port numbers will be included in the transport layer just to verify which kind of application you are trying to access. There are some well-known port numbers applicable for communications or for protocols. Say for an example, port number 80 is for HTTP and 443 is for secure channel. Port number 22 is for SSH and simple file, secure file transfer port. Port number 22 is for SSH and port number 2021 is for FTP. So the same kind of information will be included in the transport layer itself. So by looking at the transport layer, you can come to a conclusion whether it is the traffic for HTTP or HTTPS or for an email or for OP3 protocols. So what these protocols and all, we will see in the upcoming videos, but just for our reference, consider it that based on the destination protocol because uh, yeah, right. So when it comes to security, we are always concerned about the destination protocols. We don't worry about port numbers because those port numbers are randomly generated. That is being completely maintained by your operating system, which is installed on your computer. So we don't need to worry about those port numbers. The destination port numbers are crucial. So the destination port numbers will be added in the transport layer. So along with the transport layer information, which is nothing but source and destination port numbers, this network layer adds an additional information called IP address. IP address of the source, IP address of the destination. Okay, so what is IP address? How to configure an IP address or how it is derived? Those informations we will see in upcoming videos. But just to understand this voice layers, make sure network layer is adding additional information called IP address. I mean source and destination IP addresses. And then a data link layer, which is very crucial in data delivery because it is responsible for the data delivery within the same LAN. Okay, LAN in the sense it is called local area network. Don't worry if you don't know what is LAN. We will come to know in the upcoming videos. But just for an understanding of wholesale layers, assume that LAN is local area network. So this is doing error detection and error correction. So when a data is from uh, leaving from or when it is coming from, sorry, leaving to or coming from a layer one, it checks the error. And if there is any errors identified, it's asking, it is trying to correct that error. So that is what it does. So basically, it is divided into two different groups, which is called logical link control and media access control. Media access control is nothing but your Ethernet LAN card, which is used to connect with your actual physical network. So nowadays we are using wireless LAN cards, right? So the MAC addresses, um, media access control, we used to say. Uh, it's an address for your LAN card or wireless adapter. So each and every device which are connected in the same LAN will be identified by using its MAC address, right? So in network layer, we use IP addresses to detect the source and destination, but in LAN, we use MAC addresses, not the IP address. Your IP address will not work in layer 2, okay? So here the PDU is called as frames because the uh, what you can say, your MAC address delivers the data based on the source and destination MAC addresses. So if a packet with MAC address, that is called frames. That is what it is all about. Okay. And then the first layer, I mean the lowest layer in the 7 is physical layer. Physical layer is nothing but as the name implies, it's physical, means we can see it as long as it was Ethernet based communication. Nowadays mostly it is wireless, right? So electromagnetic waves we won't be able to see. But in the traditional networking, it as physical layers refers your actual cable based connectivity. It can be an Ethernet or 100 base T or 100 base X. So this is what the physical layer is. In the physical layer, the actual data is converted as electrical signals or wireless signals. So in this layer, the data is called as bits. So that is what its name is. Its BDU is bits. So that's it for about OSI layers. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, if you need any more additional information about this, uh, please put it on the comment section. We will get back to you shortly with our next video. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.